Silver's parabola continues, but do we have a high in place currently? Only up 6.75% on the day. We'll talk about that, possible recession signals, as well as the FOMC and some big tech earnings. We'll get into those numbers as well. But first, if you guys like the video, don't forget to give it a like. Appreciate you guys coming over from the channel. We're going to continue to do the daily wraps on this little experiment I'm doing with YouTube. I also want to have a backup channel anyway. We'll continue doing the short format videos on the old channel and evergreen content, which I already have a few loaded for you guys to go. We'll do that over the next couple of weeks. I'm kind of doing this format here. It's going to be a little wonky at first, but just bear with me while we get into that. We also have one more thing of business here before we get into it. 60% off first month active trader, 30% off first month swing trades. That'll be for the next month. So get in on that while you can. We're absolutely crushing it in this market. Great start to the week here this morning. An active trader took a huge winner on the E-mini. But anyways, let's get into it here today. So silver, that is the big topic right now. I mean, you know, just a casual move from 103 to 117, like in a few hours. SLV, highest volume ever, right? We talked about that in the last video. Up 5.6%. I know I'm getting this. They're slowing me down. See, they're trying to get at me right now. This is Ken Griffin here. But nonetheless, we can flip over if this is going to be a problem. Oh, there it goes. But SLV, highest volume of all time. And it's really not even close. Look how fast it's moving. Not even close here. And we're not even getting into after hours just yet. But nonetheless, possible little local high here. So if you want to try it, fade this against the highs, you can. And that's the thing too. When you have something that goes parabolic like this, you don't need to be the first one in short. Everybody trying to short it. You know, I see these guys trying to short it at $50, $60, and you know, now they're underwater or worse. But yeah, you can try it up here if you want. Just be aware that when you get a topping tail like this, a lot of the time it's not even necessarily finished a topping tail yet. But a lot of the time, when you get this happen, it'll retrace too. So you could also wait for that. You know, maybe a bounce back up to like, I don't know, 113. So if you want to take it, and we're just saying, before you freak out, like we're just talking about trading here. We're not saying silver's going back to zero. I'm not talking about the, MMT. I'm not a pro MMT guy. But we're just talking about trading here. Speaking of that though, what happens here? What type of a move? And I asked this on X earlier. What do these precious metals parabolas always precede? And it's the R word, right? Is this happening? It's certainly possible, but just raising the question here. At what dollar amount, since you guys know more macro than I do, or maybe you don't, but maybe you're interested and just want to know. I'm just trying to pick everybody's brain. At what dollar level does silver destroy profit margins, right? It's only up like 300%, right, in a few months, 400%. Right. At what point does that really hurt corporate profits, right? And this is it's not just silver, right? Copper's at all-time highs, right? Gold's at all-time highs. It's not as much of an input cost, but if you have oil starting to move, that will also certainly matter, right? And I mean, right now this is storm related, but look at nat gas. A lot of people trying to short this too, and that really blew up in their face. You got to be careful with nat gas too. It'll short. The shorts will work forever until it stops working, and then this happens, just over 100% in 5 sessions. So we have those energies moving here as well. I do think oil can move higher too, but just go back. I mean, like just look at gold. It runs up into 2020. We have that with the thing. We had a double dip in 2011, which led to QE2, right? We had the run up into 08, right? And silver's the same thing, right? You can look at that over and over. We had a recession in 80 to 82, I think it was, right, the last time. So, and again, it's not a guarantee or anything, but I would just keep an eye on the yield curve, the 210s. They're down a little bit right now, at least today. And we talked about the yen here. Based on what I'm seeing with bonds right now, I don't think there's a problem with the yen. It was definitely worth looking at, and volatility did get a pop on the open. We'll talk about ES in a second. But yeah, I mean, I would say the carry trade's not really a problem just yet. But yeah, watch this. If we start to get up to 90 to 100 basis points, I think you have to really entertain the idea of, a slowdown, which is kind of insane to even think about in this inflation environment. But, you kind of hit these air pockets, right? And they'll get filled up really quickly. But I'd like to avoid them if they do happen. Personally, I don't know about you, but anyway, just some food for thought there. Let's get into the rest of it here. ES with a beautiful gap down. I mean, this is my bread and butter play here. Absolutely beautiful. You know, failed breakdown right off the lows, and we just shot higher. Went into there's some day trading lines here I got on here, but you can see the blue kind of channel going back. I know it's kind of hard to see, but we shot that and just, you know, overshot that and then just V-shaped really all day. We talked about this in the early video in the shorts. 69.50, sorry, I drew a blank there. 69.50. We're just above that. It wouldn't shock me to close down there. It also wouldn't shock me to see 695. I keep screwing those numbers up. Wouldn't shock me to see 695 though. It's a little far away though. I did say this Friday though. As soon as that gap fills, we're going to all-time highs. So if we're down tomorrow, which I think we will be, we'll make all-time highs on Wednesday. If the Fed doesn't do it, Microsoft will. And speaking of Apple, full disclosure, long Apple actually trimmed a little bit today with the trading room. Still have some of the swings. Actually, pretty decent sized position now too. But this, you know, obviously they have earnings coming up later. This has been looking good. That's I wasn't going to put in TLT a minute ago, but you can see here it's been looking pretty good here. And it was starting out the week with now net negative, and that's where it is now. But a lot of calls. These should roll. That should put us back into positive gamma tomorrow. And, you know, there's calls at 265, 270 here, so later this week here. There's also a very good chance that Apple does a, you know, let's gap up to 265, maybe touch 270 after hours, and then whoosh, IV crush on the open. We've seen that plenty of times, haven't we? Let's take a look at Microsoft as well. This one is getting interesting also. You got a tail at 500. Never quite got to my buy level, but you know, very nice reversal, and you know, what can you say? It was a really nice weekly candle. We'll talk about that in a second as well. And then you got Tesla here, 460. Let's open it up to, let's go at 20%. Tesla's a volatile stock. Yeah, so 460, and the tail back up at 500 as per usual. But these look pretty supportive. I talked about this a week ago, or a couple weeks ago, really, over the last couple of weeks. Like everybody wanted to, you know, oh, we got a pile, end of year rally. They all jumped in at the end of the quarter, and then of course, what happens when everybody's piled in? Earnings they're just naturally going to disappoint, right? And now it's like we've gotten that discount here. We talked about the Microsoft chart, beautiful. I mean, you know, it's a really, really nice chart here. I wish it just got to 430, but 50% retrace, 100 MA, so very nice level there. You know, Apple, you know, just kind of retesting this gap window pivot area. So far, so good on that. So, yeah, the big tech looking all right. And again, you're seeing right now the Russell, you know, backing down. And if we flip over here again, you know, we can just look at correlation. Again, it's buried. You know, it's at all-time lows, right? At all-time lows. So you know, as soon as these mags start to turn around, Russell comes back in. That's dispersion. That tells us vol sellers are in control, and you know, we don't want to fight the market when that's the case. I will say volatility has held up pretty well. I did talk about that being a smart hedge, and I did pick up a little bit myself for the close yesterday or Friday. VIX down 1%. It's not really down that, you know, it's not terrible. VVIX only down 2. VIX futures are like flat, you know, down 1%. That's 1% is flat for the VIX pretty much. So this might get a little pop tomorrow, but I got to think here that we didn't get this close to all-time highs to not make them. I will say though, like bulls here, you got to punch it through now. You can't, like, you've had enough chances. You got the beautiful sweep of the low. You know, they need to punch it through here and slam the door, because, you know, how many times are we going to do this crap? Like, we're going to gap down, the dip gets bought, we come up, we make a slight new high, we can't hold it. You know, they need to punch it through here now. So I will say that. But outside of that, you know, pretty good looking candle there. And I would think that enough liquidity has been grabbed here to make highs, you know, if they're going to do it. So that's kind of the long and short of it right now. Diamond here ups, you know, that's almost at all-time highs. There's the 500 whole round number up there. SMH was soft today, but IGV took over. Microsoft acted well. Oracle was up big. I know breadth was pretty good here. What else was? Yeah, app was up, and that's coming off the highs now. And CoreWeave got that boost from the NVIDIA news this morning. Oh, and by the way, speaking of news, going back to Apple here, guess who upgraded the stock yesterday? And we were talking about fishing nets down here, 250. Like, this is such a buy. Yeah, JPM upgrades the stock here. So who had the short puts down there? I'm just going to give you like 3 guesses, right? But anyway, yeah, Corey with the bid here. Transport's a little soft. Nothing doing there. Nothing terrible. XHB flattish. IYR flattish as well. Banks had a little rebound today. KRE was a little soft early, but came back. Broker dealers here holding up fairly well. And then we got oil here, down 48 cents. But this pattern's starting to firm up. I think, another day or two, I think this can push higher if bulls can hold the ball here. XLE, a little bit of a gap and crap, but up 3 cents. We got, I think, Exxon and Chevron on Friday. Exxon, another new all-time high there. Chevron, basically at multi-year highs. XOP flat to lower, and then OIH green again, up 2%. Can't keep that one down. Dollar index hammered, so down 60 bips here. We'll see if this tries to hit the low again. It probably holds one more time, but this is definitely getting weaker here. So we had the chance for a WV. It didn't really pan out. It tried to, so it didn't really work there. You got this, kind of through the 786. Yeah, this is going to try and make a new low here soon. And again, this is pricing in, right? Let's go back to the beginning of the video here. Why did gold and silver do this, right? Right? They're pricing in a dovish Fed, right? Why would the Fed be dovish, right? It's not just because of Trump and he's going to get his guy in, but I think it's more than that. But we'll see. Watch the long end too. If the long end starts to not behave well and not play ball, that's not going to be a good thing. But anyway, dollar down here. Obviously, gold and silver up here. If you're going to try and fade silver, please do it with a small size or just with puts so you know your risk. Platinum down 1.75 after the reversal. Palladium new high, but flat there. This actually still looks like it has some momentum though. And then copper here, flattish. Again, still got the inside bar set up. Lastly, bit stink more like. It's up 1.5 here. Now, this is interesting to me going into tomorrow. I want to see what it does tomorrow. You got kind of the failed breakdown look here. It's not quite, if this can pump to the end of the day, it's got a chance. But this 4 hour as well, it's just trying to get through this little shelf here. If it can do that, it's got a little bit of squeeze in it. Maybe even into the Fed. I don't know. We'll see. But every chance they try to get it, it's held up. Today it tried to break down several times. It's also tried to break out several times. It's kind of pinned. LG1 I know on IBIT for Friday is 50. But if it can punch through that, it's got upside to like 53, I think. Last I checked, anyway. Maybe higher. But yeah, still in a range for now, and that's it. So anyway, that's it. We'll see what we get. Maybe we get a little dip into the close. Maybe not. Maybe they punch it to 5. See, it almost did it again. 695. I don't think it's of much consequence, though. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But anyways, you guys take care. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to move the daily videos to this now, so this is where it'll be. And I'll keep, reminding everybody daily. But outside of that, you guys take care. Don't forget to come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Got that sale. Absolutely killing it right now. We'll see you guys all tomorrow.